Yeah, by the way, we've definitely got slightly worse audio quality for this podcast, so my apologies. Turns out I didn't have the cables I needed, so I got Sam and Josh to record on their phones while I get the lovely microphone. But thank you for bearing with. Hello, I'm Josh.
I'm Josh.
And I'm not Josh, but together we are
Joshing around in air.
Lovely. Yeah, guys, we got the mood set at the moment. We got the lamp on next to me. We've got what was it? Mango and pineapple scented candle. I think we're ready to go. just provide. I'm providing a kind of narrative experience for the audio listener, so they can envision our environment.
Yeah, the ASMR for the Conquest podcast. That's been missing, let's be honest.
Oh dear.
Do you need to add to that with a bottle cap?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me do that real quick.
You should, yeah, definitely.
Thank you. So, Josh has brought. Actually, Josh, why don't you tell us what this is while I crack it open?
So I'm a fan of a Guinness, and someone told me a few years ago that apparently there's only 2 places in the world where they brew Guinness. One is in Ireland, and the second is in Nigeria, where apparently it's like the most popular drink.
The natural place that you'd expect.
Yeah.
Well, pub quiz teams, take note.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so I was in my local corner shop the other day, and I saw this odd-looking bottle of Guinness. And I looked closely, and it said, export of Nigeria. And I was like, I'm getting it.
That's the authentic thing.
Yeah. Brewed under license by Guinness Nigeria PLC. That is amazing.
So yeah, so it's 7.5%, so they don't mess around.
There you go. Right, let me just. All right, so we get progressively more slurred with our words. Listeners, you know why. Right, here we go. That's a bit disappointing, actually. But I'm also like, I'm glad because there's not meant to be that much fizz.
Yes, I suppose. Yeah, fair enough. There you go. Should I do the honours?
Yeah, go on, you pour it first.
Clunk.
Yeah, just pour it all over my nice laptop. That'd be great, thank you. Oh yeah, hang on. Perfect. Amazing.
It's as good as we're getting.
Yeah, that is about as good as it gets. Sorry, if the listeners don't know what's going on, Sam is currently pouring our Guinness malt. Oh, mate! I'll tell you what, why don't you take a little bit of mine, and you can take a little bit of Josh's as well, and even it out. Sam just poured himself the smallest glass of Guinness I've ever seen.
Oh, I think
that's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Right, well, cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, to us. We're drinking this out of jam jars, by the way. Because we live in West London.
Look, it's bougie, okay? They're Bomberman glasses.
Oh, that is different.
It really is, isn't it?
It does not. If you had given me that in a blind taste test, I would never guess Guinness.
I know it's a stout, but it's so malty.
I like that.
I really like it.
Yeah.
That is, it's really interesting, isn't it?
Wow.
But that malt drink, that's a very common Nigerian drink, isn't it?
Yeah, stuff like super malt and all of that, yeah. They do actually have Guinness malt.
Yeah.
It's something called Guinness malt, yeah, and it's like their own version of that malt drink. So, yeah, well.
There we go.
I guess it does make sense they got a brewery in Nigeria. But yeah, this is very different. This actually tastes a lot like super malt.
Oh, does it?
It's not as sweet as super malt.
No, it's its own thing, but it's kind of got... It tastes more like it than normal Guinness does, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm almost getting like red winey flavours. Is that me just by myself?
The tannins.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like almost like they've aged it in something.
We are just becoming a drink like flavour note podcast at this point. What are the notes of your of this beer you're taking?
If you want to take a break from us talking things we don't really know about Conquest, we can talk
You
about things we don't really know about beer
can hear
instead.
us intermittently talk about beer while we drink it.
We've got a long list of subjects we can ramble about that we know very little.
Oh yes.
Right, so this episode's sponsored by Guinness. If any other beer manufacturers want to send us the samples, go ahead. If you could send 3 though, so that we don't end up pouring yourself a dribble, that'd be great.
We'd like full jam gels, please. Right, guys, we've got a listener question. Is your discussions about Conquest crack me up? If a Wadroon decided to become a stand-up comedian, what do you think their routine would be like? Laughingly, Josh. It's another Josh, guys. I mean, I don't know how this keeps happening. It's so weird, isn't it? Like, it's almost like we're coming up with the questions to something ourselves.
Do you know, I've got an answer for this one.
Go on.
I think I could see Wadroon, a lot of physical comedy. I'm thinking like
Jim
Jim Carrey style,
yeah.
like slapstick, like real, like emotive. Like there's no way they're just like casually standing behind a mic, just like reciting jokes. There's some flair to it. That's what I can imagine Wadroon comedy being like.
I liked it.
Do you know what I think that would be supported by? Is a large number of puns about food. So I've been reading a lot of Wadroon lore over the last few weeks.
Nice.
And I don't know if you've picked up on that, but a large number of Wadroon are classified as bound, which means that they are bound to their local tribe and their job is purely to provide food for the tribe, because that's the biggest issue that they have. They've got such big
so
appetites.
they just spend their whole time hunting and...
Yeah, so it's a small number of them that are actually out fighting. The massive proportion of them are just purely generating food. And that's like their biggest need, to the point that that's why the Wadroon have then ended up moving to the west, because they're in need of more food sources, because they're in the desert in the east. So I think you can't be surrounded by food for that long, to that extent, without having your sort of, all of your cheese-based puns, halloumi and all of that. I think, it's unavoidable.
All right, Sam, I'll give you until the end of the podcast to think about a cheese-based pun that you'd like to share with us.
I got too many.
You got them loaded up already?
Always ready with one, What cheese is made backwards? Oh, that's an easy one, isn't it? What cheese is made backwards?
Oh, made backwards.
Edam.
Yeah. What cheese?
Brilliant.
What cheese greets itself in the mirror? Hello, me.
It's so bad. I love it.
I think I'll pause.
Yeah. All right, cool. No, I love that. Look, as long as it's...
Wow, it's really strong, isn't it? Goodness me.
Oh, brilliant. Well, look, listeners, if you've made it this far, congratulations. Oh man, yeah, I love that. A bit of physical comedy. I'm imagining he's got to trip up at least twice before he gets to the microphone.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a Wadroon stand-up comedy, is it? Unless you've fallen over yourself. That was brilliant. Right. Other thing I wanted to talk about. We've got a event coming up on Saturday, which says now Tuesday. I assume you guys will be listening to this hopefully Thursday, but we'll see. I don't want to put myself into a corner just yet on release date.
It's great that if they're listening to it and it's been released on a Friday, that's no.
They go to blame. You liar!
But based on the conversation so far, this is going to need a significant amount more editing than previous episodes.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to edit this at all. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get a few of the gaps out, but we'll see how I feel tomorrow. So we got this event coming up. It was called Sluggaz New Year Mayhem. So that is, for those of you who don't know, David Richardson, who is a avid Spires player and Vanguard for the Southampton area. He's put on an event with his local club. I think how many of us are going to be there? Like 20 or something like that?
It's in that sort of region.
Yeah,
16,
it's definitely
20.
going to be big. It's probably going to be...
I thought it was 24.
Oh, 24.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's a decent amount. And I think he said he probably won't play, will he? Because he... Oh, no, unless there's
It's only
dropouts.
odds and evens whether he'll
Yeah,
play.
yeah. But, so yeah, I'm excited for that. It's 1,500 points, which I don't think any of us had played before recently. Obviously, we've been trying out our army lists. Normally, we play 2,000 points, but I guess it's good because it's more beginner friendly. It probably means you get more people turning up to your event, which is, I think, a good shout. But yeah, so on Saturday, we'll be travelling down for that. I know each of us have had quite a different experience sort of playing a 1,500 point list. And I think probably for me and possibly you, Sam, it doesn't feel that different to 2,000 points. But I know for Josh, because you play Old Dominion, and the way your tiers scale at different points ranges, I know that's probably changed quite a few things, hasn't it?
Oh, I really like it. Because the way it works is for every 250 points less you play, you need 2 less for your Dark Empowerment pool and 2 less for your Fallen Pantheon pool. Nice. So usually when we're playing 2,000 points, I need to get 9 tokens in either one of my pools to hit tier 2.
Sure.
But when we're playing at 1,500 points, I only need 5 points in either pool to hit tier 2. And so that feels a massive difference, especially because most people, when they play a Fallen Divinity, which is what I'm playing, they just throw all the points into the Fallen Divinity and the army kind of just stays at tier 1.
Sure.
Which it always feels a little underpowered at. Whereas once you get the army to tier 2, you get all your Memories of Old as a draw event, and the whole army just feels a ton stronger. So I really like it because it means rather than requiring 18 points to get both my army and my Fallen Divinity to tier 2, and then I need even more points to get the Fallen Divinity to its ultimate form. Now I just need 10 points to get the army and the Fallen Divinity to tier 2, and then even to get the Fallen Divinity to the next tier is a little lower as well. So it just feels like, it just feels so much nicer. Not having the army just at tier 1 just means they hit a little bit harder. They feel a little bit more like you're getting a bit more value from them. And I've really enjoyed it.
It feels like you'll bring less chaff as well these days. Because normally, for those of you who don't know, with Old Dominion, you want stuff to die because as stands are taken away, you get points given into your Dark Empowerment or Dark Pantheon if you've got the Fallen Divinity pools. Obviously, as you do that, you level up, and when you level up, like Josh was saying, you get it as a draw event, your Memories of Old. I've definitely noticed you'll bring less like Legionnaires and stuff that just need to die, and you're bringing more stuff that actually matters because you're still getting up the tiers.
Yeah, so what they've done in an update not too long ago is your Warlord gets the Blasphemous Soma, I think it's called. But basically they give you 1 token a turn once they're on the board.
Right, yeah.
And then I've also run just a Hierodeacon by itself with no upgrades. And they can cast a spell that gets you 1 token per turn.
Spell on you.
It's great.
I feel like I do that every time you do it.
Oh, yeah. And so it means I'm like generating 2 tokens a turn, which especially when, as I said earlier, need far less tokens, means I don't have to have that much chaff to kind of die off. So I literally just have 1 MSU of Legionnaires in my list, and that's it for chaff. Everything else is, stuff that I'm hoping is going to do a bit of work for me. Between, my Warlord and the Hierodeacon, I can often get a lot of the tokens I need, and then a couple of Legionnaires just to give me that extra little boost to get both to tier 2.
Amazing. Sam, how have you found it?
I found it really hard actually because we've been playing at 2,000 points for probably 2 years. and no difference to that low belly drop down at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just not used to writing a list that's only 1,500 points. Just feels like I've run out of points before I've actually got to what I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And also, because I'm an idiot, I got the Siegebreaker Behemoth and thought, I've got to take it because it's my new model.
Of course.
So, but what that means is I've basically got 2 warbands that are out to try to do different things. So it isn't one cohesive list. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. So I've got about 1,000 points that I'm really happy with. I think it's really good. And then I've got 500 points, which is purely there just to have my new model on the table.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting to go and be competitive.
Sure.
But I think maybe because of that, people will just look at it and go, why on earth are you doing that? And not be able to figure out how to play against it. So it might work in my favour. We'll see. Yeah.
Nice. The old get them so distracted that you can sneak some force-grown drones around the corner without them thinking about it.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of an unpredictable player anyway, because I do make the number of times that we have played and I'll turn over my top card, I'll win supremacy, turn over the top card, and one of you will look at me like,
oh, that's not what I expected.
Yeah. So I think maybe like this might just work.
I love it. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like I've had that a couple of times with Josh as well. When it happens with Josh, I'm always like, oh no, I've messed up. Because as soon as he sees something that he doesn't expect, I'm like, yeah, Josh is a better player than me. So I've definitely messed up by not putting this unit instead first. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise. Yeah, because I guess you like bringing lots of different things in your list, don't you? It's not just like, oh, you're leaning one way into one thing. It's like you got your Strix, you got your Abominations, you got your Biomancer with the force-grown drones, you got your Ferromancer with the brute drones, and now you're like, oh, I kind of have to pick and choose between them, right?
Well, my sort of default, I think my strongest list that I would typically design for would be built around the Ferromancer's army rule and supremacy ability.
Oh, the regen.
So that's got regen and re-rolling all morale when you're near him. And as a result of that, actually a 1,500 point list, if I were to go with a Ferromancer and a Biomancer in blocks of force-grown drones supported by brute drones and an Abomination and some Strix and maybe even a second Abomination, I'm not sure quite what would fit. That feels like a really cohesive list where everything's benefiting from the rule and it's quite difficult to fight against in some contexts and it lasts for a while. Whereas the Siegebreaker Behemoth comes on with the lineage Highborn, who really is wanting things that are a little bit heavier and maybe a bit more of an elite force. And so that coupled with a high clone executor in maybe some bound clones with the marksman clones to back you up, maybe with the Biomancer as well to check some shenanigans around, that maybe would be a bit more better suited with some Centaur Avatara and Incarnate Sentinels. Like that feels like a different sort of list, but it's heavier hitting.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, go on. Sorry, I was going to say, like, I feel like you've mentioned this, that people rave on a lot about superior creations being the sort of one you want to take. That's the Avatara.
Avatara, they're the ones that benefit from that the most, because suddenly they go from Clash 2 to Clash 3 for 5 points extra.
Oh,
that's it's just so worth doing that.
Yeah. So I often do use the Veterans Army rule on my Household Knights, for example, because they're normally Clash 2. You can make them Clash 3 base with veterans, but you have to double their officers' cost. Now, officer cost 25, so you're basically paying 25 points to add one clash. And you're removing relentless drills, which, gives your army other stuff. So, that seems like really cheap for a lot of benefit. And of course, it stacks with each stand, doesn't it? So if you bring more stands, it costs you 5 extra.
It's just an extra 5.
Yeah, it's nothing. Like it's so good.
Oh, it's really is worth it.
Yeah.
But then it is only really then worth it if you're in the whole army because you're losing every other part of the army rule.
Yeah.
So, and I think then what comes with that is then the lineage Highborn ends up with 3 free upgrades, masteries or mutations.
Okay, yeah.
So that then makes her into a really, really good character. That's so much fun because you then give her deadly blades and
nice.
I
Loads
don't know
of
what
attacks,
else.
all
Oh
of
yeah,
this
and then
stuff,
this particular one which allows you to make a unit clash twice. No, it gives a free clash.
Free clash.
Free clash out of turn once in the battle.
Yeah, you guys both have that, don't you?
Well,
The free
is that
clash.
Mine's
the Zilliarch?
the Zilliarch's rule is one. After you've done the supremacy roll, you can pick that turn. Your whole army gets a free additional clash.
Yeah.
But yeah, yours was just.
It's a 65-point mutation, but as part of her supremacy ability, you get 3 free mutations. So you just take that one without thinking because it's so expansive.
Yeah.
I've been playing this game quite a long time. I've never once been able to use that because she's died before.
Oh.
No, Sam. You used it once against me. I'm not sure if you remember this.
Clearly I don't. Go and tell a story.
You should do, because it really hurt you.
Oh, well, maybe this is why. I blotted it out.
You just suppressed it. Yeah.
You used it to try and seize an objective. So you needed to get an objective, and like we were both fighting for it, and you were like, "I'll use my 3 additional clash," and so you had, I think it was just an MSU of force-grown drones, and you gave them the 3 additional clash,
and it was a no-brainer, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was 100% the best play, and they missed every hit, and it didn't do anything.
And
were they inspired as well?
Completely screwed up. That my entire game plan was. It was one of those supremacy things where I turned over my top card. Josh went, "What on earth are you doing?"
Sure.
And I said, "I'm going to use this ability because then I'm going to nick this objective off you, and then I'm going to get to charge into your side, and there's nothing you can do about it."
Yeah.
And here we go. Like, let's roll 20 dice and just roll 25s and 6s. It was not happening. Oh, yeah, okay, I do remember that. Yeah, thanks for that.
Amazing. Oh, that's good fun. Yeah, no, I've honestly, maybe it's just me. I feel like 1,500 points feels exactly like 2,000 points. Like, I'm always surprised by how much I can put into my list, just because my stuff's so cheap, and I'm not looking to do too many like combos. It's not like, oh, I need this thing to then give this other thing this thing. It's like everything just kind of does its own thing. And like, you know, you'll give characters buffs that give their regiments buffs and stuff like that. But generally, yeah, I'm just like, oh, I've managed to make an all-cav list, and it looks fairly similar to the 2,000 point one.
Right.
It's just got one less unit of Ashen Dawn and Crimson Tower. I would bring more Ashen Dawn, but I just, I can't be bothered to paint the models, to be honest. I've just spent 10 hours painting these ones, and I'm just like, oh, you know what? That's, I'm good. I'm good. So I've now got 12 Male Squires to paint. No, sorry, not 12, 6, but still, it feels like 12.
Oh man, you own so many regiments. I'm like, you said it feels the same. I'm like, I've got 5 regiments in my army, and one of them's the Fallen Divinity.
Yeah, because with her, you don't get a separate card for her being a regiment, do you, as well? So
No, she is her own regiment, but she's also a regiment that I want to hide from combat for like the first 5 turns.
Yeah, so you've essentially got 4 regiments that you're playing with,
and one's an MSU of Legionnaires. So how's everyone feeling about are you feeling confident in your lists? Like, what are you predicting?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm treating mine like it's a laugh, and I think it is quite a fun list for me to play, and I think it's probably quite enjoyable to play against because it feels a bit unpredictable, but you're probably going to win.
Yep, sure.
So I've got my Strix coming in. I'll probably delay them by a turn, and then they can just fly around the back somewhere if I can get them to do that. Ferromancer in with the force-grown drones with Aura of Death. So if I can get him into contact with somebody else, it'll take a few turns. We'll die eventually, but it's going to be quite annoying while he's there. I've got a big block of force-grown brute drones.
Nice.
And they'll do my work for me, basically, with Flurry and Oblivious and Unstoppable by default.
Sorry, who's sitting in them? Is it the Ferromancer?
So they are just coming on their own.
Oh, but they're going to get all the buffs from the...
Yeah, so if they sit near enough to the Ferromancer, then they reroll morales anyway, and they're oblivious by default.
amazing.
So they can... And because it's a block of 5 that I'm bringing on, which they should survive.
That morale flurry with it.
Yeah. And then I've got and then an Abomination, because that's nice to just sort of leap up and sneak an objective every so often.
Without an A-bomb.
And then I've got Lineage Highborn coming on with a little set of Avatara. So again, they can sit on an objective somewhere. Like their attacks to bring on Bertha, the Behemoth. And I've given the Lineage Highborn flank, so the Avatara will come on automatically turn 2.
Ooh.
And then I can bring my brute drones on automatically with my automatic one on turn 2. So I should have my 2 objective zone seizers every game, turn 2, by my choice. And then, Siegebreaker Behemoth will just come on, plod forward, unless I meet your Fallen Divinity, which is exactly what happened a few weeks ago. I should be able to just crash into some men-at-arms and just be very annoying.
Well, I feel like you do better against more elite units with it, because that smite means it doesn't mean however good your defence or evasion or whatever it is, it just means you're getting lots of hits in.
Well, so evasion is the issue.
Yeah, because your evasion
you were evasion 2, and that was the thing that I'm like, oh goodness me, I've just put like 500 points or whatever into doing nothing at all. So what I need to do, I need to learn a lesson, and I don't learn lessons very well. At the beginning of each game, I need to look at the list and go, which ones have got evasion, and just avoid those
just avoid them.
Behemoth,
Yeah, you want to play to your strengths, don't you? And I think I haven't faced the Siegebreaker yet, but I'm terrified because 100 Kingdoms has no evasion. Like the highest we have evasion 2 on Hunter Cadre. But that's because they're meant to come against monsters with a bunch of cleave, right?
Yeah.
So at least they get some sort of save. And then we've got Imperial Ranger Corps with evasion 1. I think the Sicarii have evasion 2 as well. But it's not a lot. Everything else is purely defense because, just a bunch of slow dudes with sticks. Like that's, we don't do any shenanigans. We just sit there with our shield and hope for the best. So
Your
Smite is just going to absolutely melt anything I put in front of you.
Yeah, if I can land a charge on... When you set up your nice little hammer and anvil thing, if I can land a charge on the first one, get all my impact hits in, maybe land in your side, 7 impact hits with brutal impact 2. So you're losing your shields, and then that just...
Can't do much with a hammer if you melt the anvil, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And then I can get go and do a clash somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. And it's Ashen Dawn, right? The defense 4 with Blessed, but if your defense is brought down to 0, Blessed isn't going to help you out.
Wait, let me just re-roll that and see if I get any more zeros.
Yeah, that's the one to use it against.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only caveat to that is Josh's favourite thing my army has, which is when you can give the Imperial Officer Armour of Dominion. Also affects Smite. So if I go in with my Steel Legion into your Siegebreaker Behemoth with the Imperial Officer with Armour of Dominion, it stops Cleave and Smite. So because you just always be in contact with the Imperial Officer, because it's not like a regiment where you're like stand versus stand, so your back stands would still get your cleave. It's like you're just one thing, so you just lose it. So yeah, that's my answer to it, but that's also my only answer to it.
Yeah.
So if I haven't got that on my list,
and your Steel Legion, haven't they got Fearless?
they have bravery, which gives them fearless. Yeah.
Yeah, because being terrifying too as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels like it's so situational. Like in the right situation, which by default in Conquest is going to be most of the time.
Yeah.
It's an absolute beast. And then you just apply a level of intelligence to it, and all it is do I notice Armour of Dominion and go, right, I need to avoid that more than you notice. I need to make sure that that's the thing that hits it.
Yeah. So the way you should always play, I think, if you're 100 Kingdoms, is always make sure you tell people that you've got this thing to avoid like gotcha moments, right? Because it's like that always sucks. Because like I've got a thing and I can remove one of your things that is like your main thing, and you might want to know about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as long as you're reminded at the beginning of the game, you can go right. I'm going to make sure I avoid that. Easy.
Yeah, so good gamesmanship.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a good list, Sam. I know you. Sorry, just because I wanted to. Actually, you know what? I'll bring this up later. I was going to ask you about the new Abomination model, but I will do that later. Josh, do you want to run through your list real quick?
Yeah, mine's. I think it's going to be a bit of fun. I've got Fallen Divinity. I just think it's so fun. Like, I know from LGT, no one who did well with Old Dominion played a Fallen Divinity. But it's such a fun model. And when it gets to tier 3 and just kills everything it touches, it's a joyous month. Yeah. It's so much fun. So I've lost a lot of games. Like, I wiped the enemy team's army, but it's too late, and I'm like...
You almost exclusively table and lose.
yeah. But, like, I've never had so much fun losing.
The Old Dominion way, yeah.
Like, when I lose as Nords, I'm like, well, that sucks. I just got, absolutely smashed. Whereas when I lose with, Old Dominion, I'm like, well, at least I killed everything.
It's like you held your village long enough for the reinforcements to come, but I also destroyed all of your initial force.
You won the moral war. But But yeah, so I've got a Fallen Divinity, no upgrades, just playing it, by itself. Again, if it was 2K, I think the Dread upgrade is really nice.
Yeah.
That gives it Dread and anything
around it, Dread as well.
A little bubble of Dread.
Lovely.
I've then got a block of 5 Praetorian with a Ziliarch in there. The Ziliarch is like, it's not full Kiliarch, it's I haven't put Combat 3 on it, but it's got Gladiator, nice. It's got Weapon that gives it an extra attack and cleave. So it's still like Clash 3, 6 attacks, Deadly Blades, Flurry, still going to hurt. And then it's got Regalia 1, and a banner that enables the regiment to get 2 Aura of Death. Oh. And then the Praetorian Guard, I've also given them the upgrade to 2 Aura of Death. So the regiment's got Aura of Death 4, which is lovely.
I hate it so much.
So yeah, they do right. And then I've also got a block of 5 Varangian Guard. I mean, they are just...
These guys, man.
They're fantastic. I don't know what to say. 6 wounds apiece.
Yeah.
Defense 3, hard and 1. They just stick around for a bit. And then, I mean... What was it I was fighting last week? I think it was your Crimson Tower. And I cleave 3 Linebreaker. So it was just... Took him from defense 4 just to auto hits.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, man. It was... Yeah. So... basically all of my cavalry, apart from Mount Squires, and Ashen Dawn actually, are defense 3 shields. So cleave 3 Linebreaker, you are getting the maximum amount you can possibly get out of your special rules.
Oh, it's lovely. And then I've got a Hierodeacon, just playing by itself. I mean, it's basically just there to get me, tokens, and that's in an MSU of Legionnaires. And then my remaining points are spent on some Canaphores.
Yeah.
Which again, I like them. I've got a free slot.
The models are very cool as well.
Oh, they're awesome models. They go with the Hierodeacon. They're also a mainstay for the Fallen Divinity. And I feel like they're not getting a ton of love, but when I've run them, they've been really effective in the games I've played. I've got a lot of value from them. The Blessed can really help them offensively. It can really help them stick around defensively.
Yeah.
Again, they've got I think it's flawless strikes on hits of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're great.
Because his 1 is basically smarts on 1, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've got it quite simply, really, which is I've basically my Legionnaires are always just going to die off, and then the idea is the Fallen Divinity and 2 of my other 3 regiments, I try and get to the late game to hold objectives. And then usually something else dies off, but that gets me up to tier 3 of the Fallen Divinity and just go from there. I mean, I found the Varangians have just been, at least against you two, have just been almost unkillable. So they always just eat through anything they face and then sit on an objective. And the Fallen Divinity, when that hits tier 3, it's been a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
But it's always, I'm just very slow. Fallen Divinity come on turn 1.
Yeah.
I have to bring on the Legionnaires turn 2 so I can get the spells going.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm not even getting my Praetorian on till turn 3.
Oh, man,
or if I roll bad, turn 4.
Oh,
so it's a real slow army.
Yeah.
So I played it against Josh last week, and I think my Legionnaires moved on turn 1 and then never moved any further up the board.
Yeah.
Oh no, turn 2. But they got 1 movement, and then that was where the line was set.
Yep. Male squads, baby.
So I'm expecting to have a lot of fun. I'm not expecting to do particularly well. I think the list is just too slow, and as I've said, I think I've played about 3 games with you guys with this list, and I've lost 2 of them, and I tabled you both times, but it was always just I'm too far behind on points for it to make a difference. But I think it'll be a laugh, and we'll see how it goes.
Right, so we've got a Spires list designed to go really, really fast and lose. We've got an Old Dominion list designed to go really, really slow and lose.
And now we've got 100 Kingdoms list designed to do neither and lose.
I thought we were going to hit the Goldilocks list here. You know? Too fast, too slow, just right.
Yeah, please now exclusively call me Goldilocks. I'm Goldilocks. I'm Josh. Yeah, man. I actually. So sometimes I write down notes while we're doing our podcast, just to if anything cool comes up. That was actually something Sam said to do. One thing I've just written is Varangian having 6 wounds is broken. Because I feel like with Old Dominion, your wounds are almost double valued. Because not double valued, but 150%. Because so much you don't have resolve. So it's each wound is worth so much more. So trying to kill, I was getting flashbacks from 1.5 when I was charging household knights into your trolls, and they were 2 wounds a model. So it was 8 wounds for the stand. I was just what is going on? But yeah, man, those things stick around.
They do. And what's mad is part of even. It's so expensive running a big 5 block, and I put an upgrade on there for 30 points, so they're always inspired. So they are 350 points, 340 points, something like that. But it's 50 points per extra stand. Yeah. An extra stand is 24 runes, and I'm not taking resolve. So I just throw a couple of extra stands on the back just so they're stick around forever. Yeah. It's so nice. I think the only thing that's going to compete with them is they'll probably get nerfed before then, but the Steel Chosen for the Nords are wound 7. I can't remember if they're base resolve 4 or 5, but I know they can get to 5 because they have the bravery. You can spend 20 points for bravery. So they're
so that's
7
that
wounds.
resolve is now baked in. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's because they've got the cunning gears, their mainstay, they're definitely going to be able to hit resolve 6 or whatever. So they're going to be the other ones where you just wait, how do I kill them? 7 wounds a stand, plus just basically no, don't take any resolve damage is going to be horrible.
Yeah. But mate, I'm looking forward to your Rangers absolutely destroying some stuff. Who's I played was Alex. I played against at LGT.
Oh, he ran 2 blocks, didn't he?
Yeah, he had. I can't remember if he had 2 or 1, but yeah, his Varangian Guard just ate their way through my Ashen Dawn, and I was a very sad boy about it. But no, Sam. What was I? Alex's list was amazing. He played it really well. I think a lot of people were saying he's quite a good Old Dominion player as well. And they were kind of saying it in passing, almost like a good luck sort of thing, right?
Trying to soften the blow of the inevitable loss.
I mean, just so we're on the topic of getting names wrong, for everybody who's heading down to Southampton, let's just make a note that one of the Joshes you have heard about on every other podcast, but he just had a different name every time that he's been mentioned.
Yeah, honestly. You've been mentioned in 2 different podcasts now about Conquest, and they've just been, the names have been wrong.
Yeah, well, to be fair, when I got mentioned on VGG, it was like my name was misspelt on the Parabellum
it wasn't
website,
their fault,
so
was it? Okay.
Can't blame them for that.
Yeah. What was it? What did they change your name to?
Rather than Cornford, it was like Cowanford.
Just
Somehow
Cowanford.
an R had become an A.
That's amazing.
Which was really fun trying to hear anyone attempt to pronounce that name.
Cowanford.
But now we've got a podcast where it's clearly in the title, so no one will forget it.
Yeah. I think I was also salty about the fact that they didn't remember my name. Because I was the only guy who played 100 games at LGT. So I'm like, we will name this podcast with our names.
Yeah. People come
They
in
will
us.
know.
Oh, you're not Josh, right?
And what I love is on Just Roll Ones. I do love that podcast, but when they mentioned you in the last LGT, I think they were like, I think there were 2 Robs playing Nords. And they were like, there was one Rob who, I don't know if he was called Rob, but there was one Rob who's definitely called Rob. But the one who they said was definitely called Rob was you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the other guy was actually called Rob. Yeah, man. But yeah, so actually this podcast is purely just catharsis for me and Josh. While Sam just kind of goes, yeah, I'll come along.
The problem is, though, is now that we've, thrown out all this shade, we have to be really good at getting other people's names right.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Otherwise we look like massive hypocrites.
100%. That's good. Right, do you want me to chat about my list?
Yeah,
do it.
Horses.
Yes, all cavalry. I'm very excited for this. I've always wanted to do an all cavalry list at a tournament. So yeah, I've got my lights. I've got 2 mounted squires. So they're coming along with the noble lord. He is sitting in a 5 block of household knights. Yeah. And then I'm bringing another MSU of household knights. Now, some of those have been veterans, some of them haven't. I think it's the big brick of household knights and one of the mounted squires that are veterans. So they get +1 clash. The other household knight unit, the MSU, which I'm not really using it for, but is basically I'm now I was running it as veterans, and I think I've used less upgrades and stuff, but I actually just preferred putting the upgrades on the noble lords. So they're just basically going to be fast men at arms. So they're just going to sit on an objective at some point, and hopefully that'll work out okay. Then yeah, big block of 5 household knights that are just meant to come in and do the damage. They've got the noble lord supremacy, which gives them an extra impact, so they go from impact 3 to 4, and they also get they get nice little reroll 6s on their impact hits, which is always nice.
Oh yeah.
And then I've given Oliphant's Roar to the mounted noble lord as well, so that's +1 on your clash when you do impacts. That's +1 on clash as well. So if you ever got a regiment that's clash 4, you can actually go to clash 5 rather than doing the normal inspire thing, which is you reroll 6s, right? So that's cool. Got tip of the lance, which gives them wedge, which means if you do perform a successful charge, you get cleave and terrifying on your next clash. So that's nice, bit more situational, but when it comes off, it's pretty devastating. And then I've got the Priory Commander. He's with his boys, the Crimson Tower. So they're another definitely hammer unit. And then I've got the Ashen Dawn as well, who are just the big boys. So yeah, who I cannot wait for them to be nerfed. That's actually they're just doing so well. They're just at some point gonna get nerfed. I hope they don't, but they will. But yeah, so my plan is I don't really have a plan, but I know what I'm going to do against Old Dominion, which is running my mounted squires up as fast as possible, and then basically just treating it like a leaky pipe, and just like throwing stuff into the gap. I just hope I'm around long enough for the plumber to turn up, right? So that's sort of that's my plan. And I think, when we played last, Josh, that setting the line of engagement quite high, I think, favoured me a little bit. So I think I'll definitely do that. I unfortunately won't be able to recreate the very lucky rolls that I got against you. So, hopefully I'll get a few of those, but we'll see. But yeah, and then it's just a case of letting the other stuff come along. The thing is, I do, because it's all cavalry, I do lack slightly in anvils. So it's a lot of hammers.
Yeah.
And mounted squires, which aren't either really. So I think, I'll see how it goes. I think I might use that MSU of Household Knights as a bit of an anvil, and just sort of, because they are defense 4, which is nice. So defense 3 with a shield. And so if they're up against anything with only cleave 1, that's fine. They can stick around for a little bit, long enough for the big brick to come around the side, or Crimson Tower to come around the side.
And that big brick does hit hard. I mean,
it does, yeah.
Because you're Clash 4, right? So you're getting...
Yeah, essentially, because I've got the Oliphant's Roar,
And then you're re-rolling 6s.
It's like being inspired.
Oh, but it's just like when I'm going against you, it's like, right, I get like, I don't know, 25 or whatever, like impact hits. And they'll like roll them all, re-roll some 6s. Right, I hit you like 20 times. I'm like, you got 20 impacts. It's like, I rolled a few 5s. I was like...
underperformed, actually. Are they brutal impact as well at all, Household Knights?
Second? They are brutal impact
1.
They used to be 2, but... Yeah, they got nerfed down to 1.
But yeah, it's literally, he gets more hits on his impact than he does when he then clashes me afterwards.
Yeah, way more.
So it's brutal. Yeah, I do not like them. But yeah, they do hit hard, but I don't know. At least against Old Dominion, they melt quite quickly. At least when you've charged at some Varangian, you've like, great, you've killed some, and then next auto hits.
Honestly. Those flipping auto hits, because I'm just, at that point, I'm just at the mercy of your roll, right? It's just like, I mean, the way you were rolling flipping last time, I was loving it. I was like, oh no, you've only made 3 hits.
I was Clash 4, and
you did
I was
so
like
badly.
missing more than half my hits.
Oh man, it was brutal. It was brutal. But yeah, so that's my plan. Really, don't really have a plan.
Right, so the 3 of us are going to prop up the table, basically make everyone else feel good.
Yeah. We're there to give you wins.
Yeah, we want people to go home to their friends and said, do you know what, there's these people who make podcasts about Conquest. They should be really good at the game, and I smashed them this weekend.
Don't worry, like Josh said in one of our previous episodes, we are equally as uninformed about any topic we speak about, Conquest included. Oh man. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, well, I can't wait. And James, if you're there, I'm coming for my revenge.
Oh, there you go.
I thought his name was Craig.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Pete? Amazing. Oh man. Oh. We could end the podcast there. Do you guys want to do a little bonus question? Oh yeah, we are on 50 minutes. You know what? I'm gonna do the bonus question. I'll cut it if we want to, right? We'll see how it goes. Guys, thanks so much for listening. It's been 45 minutes. Wow, this is amazing.
Longest episode ever.
Yeah, so long. Flipping it, man. We've been talking for ages. Please, someone else to say the email at this point.
joshingaroundinaya@gmail.com.
Amazing. If you've got a question, anything, pop it in there. Right, well, thank you for listening, and goodbye.
See you.
Bye.